1 second, please.
Please, Mr. Kennedy. I don't want to go. Don't shoot me in the outer space. Oh, please, Mr. Kennedy. I don't want to go. Don't shoot me in the outer space. I sweat when they stuff me in the pressure suits. Rubble, helmet, dashboard, and boots. Nowhere up there in gravity zero. I need to breathe. Don't need to be a space. Are you reading me loud and clear?
This is Star Wars Delusions of Granular, the only podcast where we get granular with a Star Wars topic every week. Welcome back. My name is Ron. I'm your host, and we got some Episode 8 news this week, right? Weird that we were getting a teaser for Episode 8 when we barely have anything for Rogue One, but yeah. Rian Johnson has kicked off the shooting of Episode 8, and with that he dropped a little video on us. Okay, so I'm just going to say it right now. There's a little bit of an uproar about this because, basically we're seeing almost immediately where Episode 7 leaves off, where The Force Awakens leaves off, where Rey is handing Luke's lightsaber to Luke Skywalker himself. This looks mere moments after Episode 7 ended, right? Where it's almost the exact same scene. Some are even saying it's an alternate take from what JJ filmed for The Force Awakens, the ending there. But no. Some people have gone out to Twitter and asked Pablo Hidalgo himself if what's going on with the scene, and he responded to a tweet and basically said no. If Rian Johnson is there on the set, that this is indeed new footage that Rian Johnson has filmed. So of course now people are like, wait a minute, does that mean there's going to be no gaps between the movies? That this is the first that the Episode 8 is going to pick up mere moments after Episode 7? That's not Star Wars. There's always at least years, months gap between the timeline in the movies. I don't know what to make of this. Personally, I think that this is just kind of Rian Johnson having some fun with us. I think that I don't think that the Episode 8 is just going to start off with moments after we left our seemingly two main characters for Episode 8 meeting. I don't think that that's going to happen, but I think Rian Johnson is just toying with us. I think that this is all just subterfuge, and that they're just teasing us, folks. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because they're teasing out Episode 8. I work with a lot of people that aren't as big of Star Wars fans as me, and I'm in the middle of correcting them as whenever Star Wars comes up in conversation, which of course with me is usually always. But I'm correcting people because I think there's going to be some confusion. Episode 8 is not the next movie. The next movie is Rogue One, which is not a continuation of Episode 7. And how is this going to? How are they going to get the average film goer to understand that this is not a sequel? That this is just a separate thing? I don't know. I think they have their work cut out for them, but teasing Episode 8 before Rogue One is that just seems to add to confusion. But we'll see. I'm sure they have big plans for the marketing of these two movies, and we'll find out. But anyway, that is not what I'm here to talk about today, folks. I am here to talk about Adam Driver. That's right, folks. Before The Force Awakens came out, you may remember I did a little research on Daisy Ridley and John Boyega's career before The Force Awakens happened, kind of wanting to see how their acting abilities would measure up for their new film for the Star Wars universe, and kind of went back. They didn't have too much that I was able to get my hands on. I know that Daisy Ridley really didn't have a huge career at all. John Boyega was in a few things, but mainly he was known for Attack the Block, which again, very good movie. You should definitely check it out. John Boyega does a really good job in that. But anyway, I was hoping to kind of focus on the other actors before The Force Awakens came out, but time just got away from me. A lot of research, a lot of watching TV, a lot of couch time to watch everything that these actors have done. But, getting back to it, Adam Driver. Adam Driver's has a bit more of a career than, or has had a bit more of a career than John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. Interesting that, I didn't know where to start with this, but before we get into his film career, I just wanted to talk about the actor and how he compares. The actor who portrays Kylo Ren and how he compares to the actors who created Darth Vader. Right, because these are our main villains in the two trilogies, comparing the original trilogy to the sequel trilogy, and Darth Vader, as I've made mention before on this show, Darth Vader was really just kind of supposed to be the thug, the brute in the first movie. Wasn't really played up upon as being a main character. I mean, he only had 9 minutes of screen time, but he, as time moved on, he, Lucas had to kind of write the role to be bigger since he was such a popular character. But, Darth Vader was portrayed by Dave Prowse in the suit, by James Earl Jones as the voice. And, not to take anything away from those two fine actors, but, Dave Prowse was really just there for his physique, and James Earl Jones, although has gone on to have a great career, I think he was probably brought in for his voice, his deep voice. But here we have Adam Driver, who, as far as I know, has actually portrayed Kylo Ren all himself, right? He's in the suit, he's the voice, he's wearing the helmet, I guess. I mean, I'm sure there's stunt people involved, as well as stand-ins, but I believe, and maybe I'll be corrected when the Blu-ray comes out, but I believe that this is comparing Kylo Ren to Darth Vader. This is Kylo Ren is all Adam Driver, voice Adam Driver. So kind of a step up, right? We have Darth Vader, who's kind of portrayed by a bodybuilder actor and a deep voice, voiceover work actor, and here we have Adam Driver. Adam Driver, okay, let's just get into his background. Adam Driver is actually trained at Juilliard. He's actually a trained actor. He's actually been on Broadway, kind of got his start on Broadway. So, here's a guy who had some acting chops. Actually has some great credits. So, backing up again, because I'm all over the place as usual. Adam Driver, born in 1983. He's from San Diego, California. And like I said, trained at Juilliard. Got his start on Broadway in a play called Mrs. Warren's Profession. Have not seen it, can't really talk about that. But since then, he's gone on to actually have a larger film career than Mr. Boyega and Miss Ridley. He's been in numerous things. He started in J. Edgar, the 2011 film about J. Edgar Hoover, which I believe was directed by Clint Eastwood. So there you go. I'm pretty sure I saw J. Edgar, but for the life of me, I cannot remember Adam Driver in this. I'm sorry to say, but I can't. But then he did appear in Spielberg's Lincoln, which came out in 2012. And I vaguely remember Adam Driver at this point. I vaguely remember his character, although just barely. And to be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of either of those movies, so I can't really recall his performance in those. I'll say I started to notice maybe who this Adam Driver is with his next film, or at least the next film that I kind of caught wind of him, which was Frances Ha. Frances Ha was Frances Ha is by a director by the name of Noah Baumbach. Noah Baumbach, kind of indie filmmaker, has made a couple of films that caught my interest. The Squid and the Whale and Greenberg. Squid and the Whale stars Jeff Daniels, kind of about a father going through a divorce and dealing with his kids. I believe Jesse Eisenberg is the main kid in that. Very dysfunctional movie, as well as Greenberg. Greenberg is kind of about, it stars Ben Stiller, and it's kind of about just a guy kind of going through a crisis in his life. Interesting little movies. Like I said, kind of indie. Frances Ha, Greta Gerwig. Again, this is an actress that around this time I'm starting to see notice these actors, actresses. Greta Gerwig was also in Greenberg with Ben Stiller. So I'm starting to see some connections here. There's the Ben Stiller connection. There's the Noah Baumbach connection. So, of course, Adam Driver ends up being in another film by Noah Baumbach, While We're Young, with Ben Stiller, Naomi Watts. But I'm really dancing around the big one here. The big one really is the fact that most people before The Force Awakens knew Adam Driver for the HBO series Girls. Right? Now, prior to seeing The Force Awakens, I had only really seen I'd seen Frances Ha. I had seen the other two movies I mentioned earlier that I don't really remember, but basically I didn't have a lot of knowledge of who Adam Driver was as an actor. I had no real connection to him. He kind of was in the background. I didn't really know who he was. He didn't really kind of stand out to me at all, other than kind of being this gangly guy, kind of awkward, big ears character in the background of these movies. And then I think it was maybe I probably need to correct myself, but I actually probably right before The Force Awakens came out, I saw a movie that he was in called This Is Where I Leave You. Now, This Is Where I Leave You is a movie with an ensemble cast. Actually, great actors in this. Jason Bateman from Arrested Development, Tina Fey from SNL, Rose Byrne, who was in Bridesmaids, Jane Fonda, Dax Shepard, Timothy Olyphant. Check this movie out if you haven't seen it. It's a great little movie about a kind of a family that's dealing with the father dying in the family, and they're kind of all coming together for the mourning of the father's passing. Great dysfunctional family dramedy, I guess you would call this. In it, Adam Driver plays kind of the youngest sibling of the crew, which basically the crew is the all the siblings: Jason Bateman, Tina Fey, Corey Stoll. Actually, I didn't mention him; he's in this as well, and Adam Driver. They're all the siblings. Jane Fonda's the mother. This is I quite enjoyed this movie. Adam Driver plays kind of the comic relief throughout the movie, and there's a lot of really great comedy in this movie. I think it's a really heartfelt movie. I think it's really great. I started to this was the point where I took notice of Adam Driver. Adam Driver, kind of the black sheep of the family, kind of the youngest brother who is kind of directionless, but he's gotten himself kind of failed upwards in life. Kind of keeps falling backwards into affairs, whatnot. Anyway, this was probably my huge introduction to Adam Driver. For this movie alone, now granted, when I saw this movie, we were still speculating who Adam Driver was going to be in The Force Awakens. There was even rumors that he was going to be a good guy. This I could definitely see Adam Driver being the good guy in The Force Awakens, just based on this film. It's a fun movie. He plays a great character, and there's no real good guys or bad guys in this movie. It's just kind of families dealing with family situations. So there was never really any hidden evil that I could see in his portrayal in this movie. So The Force Awakens comes out, and obviously he plays Kylo Ren and the big bad guy in the movie. And at this point, I was just like, okay, a lot of people know him from Girls. I think I need to sit down and watch Girls. Now, I was hesitant to watch Girls. I had heard that it was kind of the 20-something Sex and the City. Nothing wrong with that show, but just not for me, right? Just not something I was gonna watch. I had basically been a little bit familiar with Lena Dunham's work prior to this. I think I caught her first movie. I'm an indie film fan, so it was decent. But it took me a while to kind of set time aside to watch Girls. But a couple weeks ago, I set time aside and I marathoned all 4 seasons of the show. And I'll say this: Adam Driver has quickly become probably a standout as far as actors and who have gone on to be in Star Wars. Adam Driver, kudos. You are by far an excellent actor. Going into Girls, all I really knew is that Adam Driver kind of played a jerk in this series. I didn't really realize how big his role is. He's almost the second lead in this show. He basically plays Lena Dunham's character's boyfriend, on and off boyfriend, throughout the series. And wow, I was blown away. This is a great role portrayed by a great actor. Interesting. I think the first season of the show, I don't think there's. I think it probably goes at least half a season before we actually see Adam Driver with a shirt on. He's shirtless for a great while. Every time he kind of shows up, he's without a shirt, answering the door, half naked, whatever. It's one of those shows. It's HBO, so everybody's mostly naked throughout the entire show. Really didn't expect to like the show, but a great show. Great. I think if I watched the show, if the show had been around when I was in my 20s, I think I would have understood my 20s a little bit better. Lena Dunham's writing in the show is pretty exceptional, and it's a show basically about a bunch of 20-somethings half of them, most of them being girls, living in New York City and kind of being clueless and directionless and not really knowing where their life is going or where it's going to take them. And I'll say this, for the most part, going into the show, I think a lot of people think that Adam Driver, his character in this, who's actually named Adam as well, that he's the real the real psychopath of the show. But he's not. I think what Adam Driver brings to this part is he's maybe the most grounded character of all of the 20-somethings in this show. I just really didn't find him to be all that crazy in this show. I think he's the one that has kind of the true heart that kind of gets what's going on, even though he's 20-something and directionless. But actually, he might be a 30-something. Well, I know the actor's 30, but I believe in the show he's probably 30-something. Anyway, yeah. So that's the big Adam Driver role that kind of everybody who is prior to Star Wars probably knew him for. And like I said, I think we're really lucky that we have a villain in Star Wars now that's actually a trained actor. That's not just pieced together by various actors, but an actual actor that can kind of really dig into the part and make it something special. And just kind of going back to the Force Awakens and those final moments with between Kylo Ren and Rey, I think we're pretty powerful. And I'm actually pretty hopeful that what we're going to get from Adam Driver in the next films, I assume he's going to be in all three, is going to be pretty powerful, and I'm excited. I'm excited to have a real actor working in the villain of Star Wars. So, a couple other things I wanted to bring up. I have not seen all of his films. Hungry Hearts, an Italian film that he actually won some acclaim for. I was not able to track that down. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure his performance is good in it. If you know anything about this film, please drop me a line. I'm curious about it. The other film I wanted to bring up was Inside Llewyn Davis. And I don't want to get too deep into this film because I think I'll do an Oscar Isaac focused episode later on. But Inside Llewyn Davis, a Coen Brothers movie, which stars Oscar Isaac. But Adam Driver pops up in it, and Adam Driver possibly for the short period of time that he is in this movie brings a huge smile to my face. At the top of this episode, I kind of played the main song, the main part from this movie that Adam Driver's in. Now, basically, Llewyn Davis, this takes place in the 60s, and Llewyn Davis is a folk singer struggling to be a successful singer, but he goes on this recording session with a couple other folk artists, one of them being played by Justin Timberlake, of all people, and then the other person being Adam Driver. And Adam Driver is again, that tall, gangly dude. He wears a big cowboy hat in this, and he just kind of punctuates the song that the three of them sing, that they perform in this movie. And just check it out if you have not seen this. It's a funny little song, basically about Kennedy and outer space, and Adam Driver, what he brings to this is just, it's ridiculous. And I don't know if it was the Coen brothers that came up with what he does with the song, or if it was him, but again, I can't say enough. Adam Driver is great. I think we're very lucky to have him in Star Wars. So yeah, check that out. I'll touch upon Llewyn Davis at another time. But kind of funny that we have two Star Wars actors in the same movie. We'll see that later on. But again, I'll get to that later, maybe when I get to the Dom Hall Gleason episode as well. What else? Okay, well, I would be remiss if I did not touch upon Adam Driver's wonderful performance on SNL. Yes, he plays Matt, the undercover boss skit. If you've not seen this, please do check it out. It's hilarious. It's basically Kylo Ren going undercover to find out what his employees think of him. And kudos to Disney and Lucasfilm for letting Adam Driver, I guess, portray Kylo Ren in such a goofy way on SNL. But yeah, it's I think a lot of people who have seen this little skit, 5-minute skit, want to make this part of the canon. I'm making it part of my canon because I think that I think Matt needs to be a part of the Star Wars universe. Matt is who Kylo Ren goes undercover as, kind of a nerdy guy, technician crew guy on the on Starkiller base. Anyway, check it out. Hilarious. Just adding to my love of all things Adam Driver. So, coming up, Adam Driver is going to be in I think he's got a Scorsese movie coming up, right? I don't know if that's been shot yet or not, but yeah, he's going to be in I believe a movie called Silence, maybe. I might be getting that wrong. Anyway, yeah, Adam Driver's kind of a pretty decent guy too. You know, he around 9/11 when that happened, he actually joined Marines and actually served time in the Marines. Didn't actually go to Iraq. I don't believe he actually was injured before he was sent overseas. But yeah, you know, Adam Driver seems to be a decent guy. He's gone on to kind of do a lot of charity work and bring the arts to the armed forces. And I'll say this: I think if ever there's a moment where I can have a drink with Adam Driver, I would greatly look forward to that, because I think he's a cool guy, and I'm excited. So, okay, that's my gushing on Adam Driver for this week, folks. Check out his past work. I highly recommend it. I think, like I said, I think we're pretty lucky to have him in Star Wars. So, yeah, we've come a long way since the days when the previous work of the Star Wars actors was Corvette Summer and American Graffiti. So progress, folks. All right, folks. Well, this has been Delusions of Granular, the Star Wars podcast where we get granular every week. You can find all of our episodes at delusionsofgranular.com. There you can also find links to our social media presence on Facebook at facebook.com/SWDOG or on Twitter at SWDOG77. You can also call us, leave us a message, let us know what your thoughts are, what you're thinking, how you feel about the show, how you feel about the various hosts that we have as the show grows. Anyway, give us a call, 651-337-9364. That's 651-33-SWDOG. Or, as always, email us at swdog77@gmail.com. And, yeah, if you have any thoughts about the show or criticisms or whatnot, we like what we hear. We will definitely use it on the show. And as always, you can find us, if you haven't already found us, on iTunes or Stitcher. Just do a search for Delusions of Granular. That's GRANULAR. And you'll find us there. You'll find all of our episodes on there. And if you like what you hear, you know other Star Wars fans out there who like podcasts, recommend us to them, because that's the way the show grows. All right, folks, we'll be back with you probably later on this week, probably with another review from Steve. Maybe I'll be joining him. We'll see. Maybe JP will be joining him as well. We'll see. We don't plan that far out in advance, but we'll figure it out. So until then, folks, stay granular.
So perhaps you'll tell me how to fit into a five capsule. I won't be known as man of the century if I'm open upon re-entry. Got a red-blooded wife with a healthy libido. You lose her vote if you make her a widow. And who will play catch out in the back with our kiddo? Please,